This is not an active crime scene. This case is solved. The pictures that you see scrolling on your screen right now are missing children in Oklahoma. And we've only chosen the missing children who have gone missing since Jesse McFadden was let out of prison in November of 2020. So for the entire time that I'm going to discuss this next segment, you will see these children and their names and their faces and their ages. They are all missing. This came to us from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The curious thing is why were these kids not top of mind when they found that horrible sex chamber? Why did they not think it was possible, maybe even probable, given that Jesse McFadden murdered his entire family and 2 kids on a sleepover? And then he had all of that sex paraphernalia and dungeon-like equipment in his home. Why is it not plausible that maybe one of these kids may have been there? Maybe one of these kids may have died there. Lynn Wyatt is the aunt of Holly. Holly is his wife. She got a bullet to the head, too. It is possible she was even complicit in these sexual crimes that occurred there. Why? Because she said, although it's being disputed, she said she found blood-covered children's clothes under the floorboards of the house, ledgers with names and ages, that's not being disputed, hidden Velcro restraints, not disputed, handfuls of pictures, somewhat disputed, dozens of cell phones, and even bones on the property. And yet, a deputy told these family members, this isn't an active crime scene, it's solved. What good would it do to continue working in here to solve? The only person who knows what happened here is dead. What good would it do? What good would it do? Look at these faces. Look at these faces of missing kids. This is what good it might do. We might get some answers. Every one of these kids represents a family with a hole in their heart. They need answers. They deserve answers. And they deserve police to give them those answers. Joining me now is Kathlene Canning-Mello. She was an FBI agent and profiler for more than 30 years, specializing in violent crime and investigations involving children. What are the chances, Kathlene, that there were more victims, possibly some of these kids, that had seen that home?
I think there is definitely a possibility, and given what we know about Jesse McFadden's behavior, the fact that he was a sexual predator, and I'm seeing many characteristics of psychopathy in his behavior as well, during the decades-long patterns that we have seen during his lifetime of offending, I think it's a question that needs to be answered. And I think now I'm happy and relieved to see that the OSBI is now investigating this case, and especially having taken control of all of those electronic devices, because those would be the first things that we would seize in a case like this in order to determine what kind of collection he may have had in those devices, who he was corresponding with over the last few years. And what's really, I think, important to note when I'm thinking about psychopathy, you know, his lack of empathy, the fact that he had early behavioral problems going back to his teen years in terms of his sexual predation of others. But also this manipulation that we see when he had told Holly, he actually had hired somebody to tell Holly that the violent rape that he had committed back in 2003 was not a rape, and that it was a misunderstanding. So there are a lot of red flags for me that may indicate that he may have other victims, because he was a very prolific sex offender and very highly competent in terms of his manipulation of others.
Can I ask you, when Aunt Lynn told us that she discovered when she moved a dresser Velcro restraints that were taped to the back of the dresser, and asked, this is in her estimation, this is her description, she asked the officer who was on scene, would you like to take them? He said, no. You can either toss them out or take them home, but everything here is going to be thrown out. I just imagine that Velcro restraints would be rich with evidence and DNA. I would assume that's how you match potential kids like this with scenes like that. But the sheets, the bedding, the restraints, everything seemed to be left behind, just rich with all this evidence.
Yes, I mean, from the start, this should have been a very intensive forensic search of that house. So, of course, collect all the electronic gaming equipment, all of the computers, but all of those items that may have DNA on them, particularly those restraints. And we know about him in the 2003 rape that he had used restraints against his victim. So this is something that is part of his sexual arousal patterns. I see sadism in his behavior as well. This potential torture, as you're calling it in your program, that is sexually arousing to him. So that's very important to him, and you're going to see elements of that in his pornography collections as well, and also that compulsiveness of his behavior. Right, he's serving time for a sexually violent rape against a minor. He hasn't even completed the sentence, and he's sexting another minor in an effort to receive sexually explicit photos from that minor. I mean, that is
And
really
charged with it.
and,
Never
right.
adjudicated because on day one of the trial, he put a bullet in his own head and everyone else's. I have to leave it there, Kathlene Canning-Mello. Thank you for this, but I do want to tell our audience that they can look to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Check the database there. There are lots of resources. Just go to missingkids.org. You can find out more about the kids here. By the way, one of them, Ronnie Marshall, is from McAllister, which is where the McFaddens lived. It's very distressing. Again, thank you so much, Kathlene. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.